listen, you guys are going to see me drinking a little bit, chatting a little bit.
Same here. How do I enlarge everything? Oops. Hopefully it goes up, but if not, oh well. We here.
We in this. Fine.
In the building. So today's your unofficial day off, but not really.
Mondays and Tuesdays. But I feel like I still have to do behind the scenes work, not necessarily hands-on with clients. So I still am working, but not physically working in the office, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so just like branding, the content of your work,
website, inventory, all those things.
How's that going? I was gonna say that for last, but we in it. Fuck it.
It's actually going pretty good. We're pretty steady. I'm working on ways to brand outside of Instagram because I feel like that's where I started. So that's what I'm kind of sticking to. But I know that there's such a bigger market outside of just Instagram because everybody honestly is not on the internet and necessarily on Instagram. So that's a whole niche, a part of my niche market that I'm missing by not marketing outside of it. So that's what I'm currently working on. There's TikTok. So many things that you told me TikTok. I'm a work in progress. I made a TikTok. I posted a video on TikTok. I only posted one video. I gotta do better.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is.
It definitely has to be a gradual progression for me. Low key, I'm a millennial, but I'm also an 85-year-old woman. So,
but you have the energy, like for that, you know, like
I do.
Like
until I get in front of the camera, and then I'm like, like obviously not now. We're having a conversation, but when you're trying to figure out content and figure out how to make it engaging and interesting, and all those things, that's when I start getting into my head and like, if I was somebody else, would I watch this? If I was me, would I watch this? No, let's scrap this and start over. So when I'm creating content, I'm literally like, am I going to watch the first 5 seconds of this and swipe to the next thing? Because if I am, that means everybody else is.
Yeah, true. I mean, but it's all education. Like you could really go like pivot into TikTok education, like education.
And that's what I was thinking was as I pivot, because I will be doing YouTube in 2021. I'm not giving it a month or a date because I don't want anybody to hold me to that. I will be going into YouTube in 2021. But I want to kind of make sure that things correlate across the board when I'm doing things. So I'm not like introducing one topic here and doing a completely different one over there. So I just want to make sure like across like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, if I decide to do that, look, I'm scratching my head. Facebook, if I decide to do that, that everything is, copacetic across the board and not just different topics everywhere. Because that can be confusing to consumers as well. Because if I follow you on multiple platforms and you're talking about different things on different platforms, that can be confusing.
Yeah, it can. It's this whole social media stuff. We'll figure it out. The thing about it is, you just
will we?
You can't be behind. You can't be behind. If both of us would have like jumped on TikTok when it first popped, we'd have been doing numbers.
We'd have been. What's a little day? Yes, I don't even know what that is. See, that's how
I don't know. I just see it. I don't
even know what that is.
But for those that are listening or for those that's watching, we got Morgan, the esthetician. 2 years ago, I didn't even know what it was.
Sure didn't.
I couldn't even pronounce it. Morgan, aka the glow giver. Sorry, I'm drinking. So she is the glow giver. She's the founder of Skin Sense, right?
Yes, that's right.
And she, like I said, she's an esthetician, and she just educates and makes sure that your skin is glowing. For those that don't know, she was on the podcast of Esthetician and Netflix. That was June 11th, 2019. That was episode 58.
And what episode is this, Chris?
I think this is like 89, 90 right now.
Let's clap it up for that. Because you're doing the thing. Good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm trying to just getting people that really that are passionate about their interests. Like when we say keep that same energy, I'm really talking about sustainment of life. You know, a sustainment of what you're passionate about. We're living in a time to where as soon as like you see three people pop, people be like, well, I want to do it too. But they don't know, like, yo, it takes a lot of education,
It's a
practice.
I always tell people we live in the microwave time. We expect everything to go in for a minute and a half and take it out and it's popping. But no, everything is not a microwave situation. Sometimes you got to put it in the oven or the slow cooker and let it do its thing.
Yeah,
You know?
it's more beautiful when you actually go through the process. Just like a little, what is it, caterpillar going in the cocoon?
Yep.
Like,
And transition into a butterfly.
transition to a
Yep.
butterfly. It's better that way. You really like won't get called out on your BS because you actually know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not for
And
the
I feel like
moment.
everybody wants to skip the work and go straight to the success. And I feel like I'll always be in the work phase because I'm not a person that's ever satisfied with where I am, ever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's everybody or if that's just me. I used to be a bit of a perfectionist. I've kind of calmed down from that, but I still am never really satisfied with where I am. I always feel like there's more I can do. There's more that I need to do. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's on the business side or the personal side, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, I always feel like there's more that I can do.
What made you get into like esthetician work? I probably asked this the first time, but we'll
You
go
did, but
again.
I can always answer.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I was the youngest and the only girl in my family. So I didn't really, and my mom is not necessarily a tomboy, but she's a very simple ponytail and chapstick kind of woman. So I didn't know much about the beauty industry until I got to high school and I saw girls wearing, eyeshadow and all that stuff. And I was like, what is this? So after that, I kind of got a little interested. But what really made me get into aesthetics is that at about 19 or 20, I was diagnosed with psoriasis and eczema at the same time.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, I had to go to like multiple doctors, and nobody could really pinpoint what it was. This person would tell me one thing, the other person would tell me another. So, we realized that I had different things in different areas. So, like on my actual body, I have eczema, but in my scalp, I have psoriasis. So
Mm.
it's just like it's a balancing act. Like I can't even honestly, which everybody will be like, what? But shampoo and style my own hair without my skin breaking out. Something so normal, something that all of us are used to doing to some extent. I can't really do unless I have on gloves, and shampooing hair with gloves is just weird.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. So that's something, and I was like, dang, like if I'm dealing with this and it's this uncomfortable for me, there has to be other people that are dealing with this same thing to this same level of discomfort. So let me figure out how I can help them and help myself. So that's initially what like sparked me to become an esthetician or even get into the beauty industry so I could try to find a solution to that issue, not only for myself, but for other people.
Damn, that's dope. It's dope that you saw the problem within yourself. Is like, let me educate myself and get into this and educate others for this
Mm-hmm.
because you're not the only one that's going through with this.
Mm-hmm. And then
Mm,
once I actually got into the industry, I still would like to develop something specifically for eczema, but I saw more of a need within our community specifically, um, of just education because we just don't know. We just don't know.
is it more like is it like diet based or is it like genetics as far as like was it fibrosis and eczema
Psoriasis and eczema.
psoriasis?
So the psoriasis in my scalp was triggered by me getting relaxers.
Just
So
for me.
it may have already been in my body and dormant, but the relaxers like got it popping, and I mean like terribly. And at the time I had a pixie cut, so it was like my scalp was like disgusting, but not only on my scalp, it kind of came down my neck. So it wasn't like I could cover it up with anything. So I was like, oh no, like if I'm feeling a way about this, somebody else has to be in these same shoes. But and the eczema, I have really sensitive skin. But until that time when I was dealing with the psoriasis, I hadn't had any issues leading up to that with eczema. So it's possible that, my body's response to the chemicals in the relaxer just triggered all the things.
Mm.
Yeah. So needless to say, I don't get those anymore.
That's dope that you've educated yourself to contain it.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy, and it hasn't. I'm pretty sure, like, it had something to do with your self-esteem back in the day, because you didn't know what the hell was going on.
Absolutely. And I literally, months and months, I want to say maybe more than a year, but I know for sure months, because I had to actually work. And at the time I was catching the bus to work. Imagine being hot outside and you just had this red, inflamed, flaky situation all down your neck. It
Especially
was a
being
mess.
in Baltimore on the bus.
Okay. Because somebody got something to say about something. And what was said? What happened? What happened? But yes, I at that point I was like, if I'm dealing with this, somebody else has to be dealing with this. So let me figure out how I can educate myself and in turn educate and help other people deal with this and maybe other conditions like this.
Okay. So how many total years have you been in the game so far, the esthetician game?
So I'll
Officially.
start with years license. That's what I was going to say. In August will make 4 years for me.
Dope.
Yes. And I
Dope.
actually took a break within my first 2 years because the first place I worked as an esthetician, one day I came to work and they were closed. They were gone. It was done for us.
Was that
It was called Massage Heights. It was
okay,
in
no,
Quarry Lake.
okay, yeah. I thought it was the spot you was talking about. I think it was like up Hunt Valley or something like that.
Oh no, that was Ulta.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
before Ulta was actually my introduction back into aesthetics. But prior to that, I worked at a place called Massage Heights, and they just up and left. And nobody there had a job, obviously. But yeah, after that, I had to reel it in, step back, and get my finances in order. You know what I mean? And then I stepped back into the industry. But yeah, resilience. You just gotta keep going.
Yeah, you do. And now you're in it, and you're just not in it like for the money. You're in it for the education and like helping others. So
Absolutely.
with summertime coming around, right? So can you
Mm-hmm.
just explain the importance of just changing your skincare routine from winter to summer, and what does that look like?
Absolutely. So let's start with my favorite thing to discuss, SPF. If you all don't know what SPF is, it is sun protection factor, or what we call sunscreen. Yes. Is that Prisma Protect? Yes. SPF 30. Yes.
Yeah.
Broad spectrum protection. So that's always the first thing I go to, and that's within any season, because I feel like as a culture, we feel like we don't need it because black don't crack, but it can.
Burn.
But it can burn as well, yes. And we think that we don't burn, but as a black person, I burn often. And yes, I'm a lighter complexion, but you can be of a darker complexion and still burn. So sunscreen is the first thing that I would say off the top, no matter the season, sunscreen. Now your winter sunscreen and your summer sunscreen may differ, because you may use less protection in the winter because you're in the house more or you're indoors more, versus the summer when you're outside and exposed to the sun more. You may want to take the level of protection up to say from an SPF 30 to maybe a 50 or a 60.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So like I always tell people, like, SPF is not one size fit all. I personally burn easily, so I use the SPF 60 every day.
Damn.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily suggest that to everyone else, but that's why seeing a professional, getting consultation, and kind of going into depth about your skin history and what you experience with your skin is really important, because you can have the same skin type and tone as somebody else, and you all need two completely different things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was
Yep.
reading, I was doing my research today. I was reading that I think you need to lay off something and like do more hydrating within the summer, if that makes sense.
Summer and winter, you do want to do more like a water based moisturizer in the summer, especially because we tend to sweat more.
Mm-hmm.
Versus the oil one. But that also can depend on your skin type, because if you have a naturally dry skin type, you still want to have a good balance of water and oil in your skin. But like if
Okay.
you have normal to combination skin, you definitely want to draw back on the oil a little bit more, unless you're still going to get a glow without the oil because you're, between sweat and water and all those things, you're going to have a bit of a glow. But you don't necessarily want to draw back hydration, just maybe what you're using to hydrate and the weight of it. Because two things can hydrate but have two different molecular weights, or the viscosities could be different. So the weight that they hold on your skin can be completely different. So that's also something that's really important.
The molecular, is that how you say
Yes,
molecular weight?
molecular. Yes,
I like that.
because if you have if it's bigger molecular size, just means that it's going to sit on top of your skin instead of absorbing into your skin. So if you have something that's water based, that's going to be easily absorbed into your skin
Mm.
versus oil based, depending on the oil. But the oil based, usually they're going to have larger molecular sizes and sit on top of the skin.
Okay.
But it really depends on the oil and the product and the formulation. All those things matter. But just in general, versus the other, water is water and water. Your skin has water, you know what I mean? So it kind
Yeah.
of just flows a little better.
So is there any like just coming to you, like is there any, I know you're a big Dermalogica recommender. So like
Yes.
is any other products that you may want to recommend to people? Because I'm
I
Dermalogica
honestly
out.
So the reason I'm such a big supporter of Dermalogica is because they don't use dyes, they don't use artificial fragrance, they don't use sulfates, and those are all things that can negatively affect your skin. So to avoid any type of like reaction and me trying to tiptoe with clients when I'm suggesting things, that's why I love that. But if there's a specific thing that you're interested in, like I was explaining, a gel moisturizer. I love Dermalogica's Calm Water Gel, but I also love Clinique's Water Gel. What is the name of it? I can't remember the name of it. It's in a pink little round jar with a silver top, but I'll suggest that to people as well. It really just depends on where you are, what you're looking for, what your price point is. Same thing with sunscreen. I love Dermalogica sunscreen, but because I know that I burn easily, the sunscreen that I use is SPF 60. It's not Dermalogica because they go up to 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it the Urban Skin RX?
It is not.
Oh.
So that one, I'll suggest that one to somebody who just needs a baseline product. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
not my favorite SPF. I feel like it's a little heavy and it can be comedogenic, which means likely to cause breakouts. If you have an oilier to combination skin type, um, and even if you have a normal to dry skin type, I don't know that it's sufficiently moisturizing. I actually used it personally for quite some time, and I felt like, at the moment I put it on, my skin was a little, hydrating looking, but overall it didn't provide hydration for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't teach your
So,
skin.
and it really just, outside of Dermalogica, it really just depends on the product. I like La Roche-Posay as a brand. I haven't tried all of their products. The products that I have tried, I like, and I'll suggest to other clients. I'll suggest to other people and my clients. But
Mm.
La Roche-Posay is actually available at Target. I'll try like stuff here and there. There's another brand at Target that like a skin influencer released, and I had been following her for years and didn't realize it was her brand. The products that I tried, I didn't really love.
Mm.
I feel like I always try other things, end up coming back to a dermatological product. And yes, I buy the products with my own hard-earned money.
Jeez, yeah.
Yes, I spent $100 on two products the other day, and I was like, "You need these," because I bought other products and was like, "I just don't love these," and I know I love those. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I'm spending a little bit more, but I don't have to do all the guesswork of why isn't this working or why don't I like, you know what I mean? Because when you
Yeah.
get something and you use it a few times and it's like, this just isn't giving me what I needed to give.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I'm so like, even if it's just like baseline, like cleanser, toner, moisturizer, SPF, if that's all that you're getting from me at baseline, that's fine. Even if you need to start with travel sizes, that's fine. But I want to give people things that make sense, things that are good for them, things that won't cause reactions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I
that's
know.
why, yeah, that's definitely why I stick to that realm. But I don't mind suggesting other things. I don't mind trying other things, but I usually come back home.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
Now with it is, summertime fine is coming through, sundress season, city boy
Mm-hmm.
summer,
You
city
say
girl
city boy
summer,
summer?
litty boy summer coming out.
Litty boy summer.
It's gonna be a lot of bottomless mimosas, margaritas, all in the sun. So can you just
Mm-hmm.
explain like the importance of well, you kind of did already, of like hydrating your skin. Is she still on? Oh,
I'm still here. I'm sorry. I had a call.
now
I'm
you
back.
got
Sorry.
hydrating your skin and balancing that with alcohol, because we know alcohol dehydrates us.
Dehydrate you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll give you a goal in the morning if you're dehydrated, sweetie.
Oh, if you're
I
glowing in
always,
the morning.
if you get drunk, you got a little glow. It might be a little sweat, but it's a little glow in the morning the next day after you get drunk. It might be that I'm sick to my stomach glow, but it's a little glow.
I'm like, damn, I look good this morning, but I be
Yeah,
hurting.
it's alcohol. You hurt, but it's the alcohol. But yeah, it's just important to, especially because a lot of alcohol, unless you're taking a straight shot, and even sometimes even with a straight shot, it's a lot of sugar. So the way those sugars process in your body can cause some funky activity for your skin. So I always tell people be mindful of the sugar intake when you're drinking. So if you're going to take a few shots and then have one, sugary drink or one mixed drink, cool. But also make sure that you're balancing it with water
Yeah.
because you need to replenish, or if not water, Pedialyte. And while that has sugar in it, the electrolytes are going to help you not feel like crap. But something to keep you hydrated and keep your body okay, but also to help you recover internally and externally because your skin gonna need that help too.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember when I first started, I forgot what my first facial was. Probably like right before COVID, give or take
I was
ish.
gonna say I feel like it was 20, either the end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, like when I first got my first, um, it wasn't my first. It was like two or three after that. I would come in. She's like, "You've been drinking, haven't you?" I was like,
I can tell. Yep. I can tell when
"Uh-huh."
people don't wear sunscreen. I can tell when they haven't been drinking water. You'll look more dehydrated if you haven't been drinking water and you've been drinking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, you got me." But then, like after that, it was just like a mental note of like, "Yo, let me just cut back on drinking." And from
Mm-hmm.
there, I started saving more money.
Okay.
So,
Listen, let me sip some water to that.
hey, I'll sip some with you. But I love the whole the journey of it, because it's just like, just as a male, being in the military, or just like, having like a cut face, it's like the ingrown hairs. And that was like my
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing, was like the ingrown hairs. I was like, yo, this needs to stop,
Yes.
I need to minimize it, picking my own damn skin. And you was like, nope.
Yep. Nope, we're not doing that.
um,
I feel like ingrown hairs are also something that I really want to educate people about
mhm.
because a lot of times people don't know the difference between ingrown hair, folliculitis, or just like a hair bump. So those are three different things that a lot of times we as people of color with curlier and more coarse hair deal with in multiple regions, the facial area, underarms, and private regions, whether you're waxing them or shaving them, whatever you're doing with them. Those are things that we all deal with in those areas as well.
Yeah, hey, can you do like a quick breakdown of like all three, the differences?
I sure can. So ingrown hair is going to be if your hair is trying to grow through your skin, but your skin is not in a condition to allow it to come through, the hair is essentially going to curl back down into the skin.
Hmm.
So whether it's that you're just not exfoliating or you're using cleansers that are drying your skin out, those type of things can cause your skin to either contract and not let the hair through or just have dead skin there that's not going to let the hair through. So that's how we typically get ingrown hairs. And then what was the other one? Folliculitis. Folliculitis is really from person to person. It can come from improper shaving techniques, or if you're using razors multiple times, it's kind of like bacteria and it can irritate your skin.
Oh,
And then, yeah. And then what did I say? Folliculitis, ingrown hairs, and what was the third one I said?
sheesh.
It's not the alcohol, I promise.
It's not.
What was the third one I
Growing
said?
hairs and
Oh, hair bumps. Hair bumps. Hair bumps can just be from irritation from removing hair. That's it. Like,
oh,
because people will get especially with waxing, like you can get waxed and you'll see little bumps afterwards. It's really just your body's response to the trauma. And I'm saying trauma with air quotes because nobody's beating you up, but for your skin, that's considered trauma.
yeah, understood.
I'm still here. Sorry. So, yeah, none of them are anything to be discouraged or defeated by. You just have to know how to treat them. That's all. And where to go to treat them, what to use to treat them. Because the same way nobody, I don't know about you, but nobody taught me how to shave. I found a razor and just was like, what's this? Let me see something.
Military so if you taught us how to shave.
See, at least somebody taught y'all. Nope.
Not properly. Like not
properly.
Not within the Black community, no. See, that's why I got all the scars now.
Yep. So it's important for me to share that education, because I feel like there's so many people that are dealing with it and just don't know and just don't do anything about it, but it still bothers them. And I don't want them, you know what I mean, to have to be bothered, have to be self-conscious about those things when there are ways to fix them.
Yeah, and ladies, if you're, I know it's getting hot out here, and you want to get in your sundresses and I forgot the other dress. It start with an M, but
a maxi dress.
Yeah, the maxi dress. And if you want to, shave, go get wax. Go get wax, or at least I guess like learn how to shave properly, because
there are proper ways to shave. I know everybody is not up to waxing. Everybody's pain tolerance will not deal with waxing, and that's fine. Those people, I can still educate them on how to shave properly to avoid ingrown hairs, or if they get ingrown hairs, to treat them and still shave. So it really just depends. It's a person-to-person kind of thing, but I'm pro-waxing.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pro-waxing.
And for my men, it's getting hot out here. Make sure you get your facials and the beard facials, whatever you call it?
So I am rolling out a gentleman's facial in June.
Exclusive.
Because I just feel, I feel like there are certain things that men need targeted. Beard for one, or if you don't have a beard and you still have facial hair, cleaning and getting into those areas and making sure the skin under that is exfoliated is important, and something that most men aren't doing at home.
Why do you think it's a stigma of men not getting
facials?
Yeah,
I feel like, I don't know, maybe they think it's soft for them to get facials, or I ain't doing all that. That's for girls. You know what I mean? Like, okay. You could be out here shining, but
you get in that one relationship, you're going to be doing the little choco mess with your girl with no problem.
And I feel like also men, your hormones are more stable. So your skin is normalized unless you have acne or something from your parents. Mm-hmm. You all have skin that is more stable, I would say. As women, we deal with a lot of hormones, whether it's the ones that we already naturally have, or birth control, or pregnancy, all those things. So all those things tear your skin up. So we are a little bit more inclined to go see somebody to help us because we're dealing with those naturally as women. But with men, because, y'all hormones are more stable, overall, you all might not have visible damage or visible issues. But I think it's still important to see somebody on a regular basis to help you, reach the higher heights of skin.
Yeah, because it's like once I started going, I was like, damn, this is dope. And then like my nose shrunk like 2 inches when we did extractions.
You always say that, but it's very true. And I feel like most people, especially men, a lot of men wash their face with soap. And I always tell people anything but soap. Even if it's not the best ingredient cleanser, we can at least start with a cleanser because soap is more it depends. It might be alkaline, but it's gonna basically make your pores tight, dehydrate your skin. So it's like you might as well be washing your face with detergent because soap has detergents in it.
That's the man
And
version. Let me
yeah.
get tired.
Let me go get this bar of everybody thinks because it's Dove that it's more gentle. No, it's not for your face.
Well, yeah, but yeah, like like you were saying earlier, like it's stuff under your face that that's there. Like every time we do the extractions, what is it? The cerebellum, the sebum,
Sebum, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, my nose shrinks every time, and I'm like, damn, I got that nigga nose, so it's just like it catches everything. But
Poor.
for all my
But you
males,
know what? You're naturally oily in your T-zone, so that's fine. So we expect oil, sebum, debris, all those things to be in that area.
yeah, break down the T-zone real quick. I know some
The
people don't know.
T-zone is going to be your forehead, the bridge of your nose down to your nose. So most people assume that they're oily because they get a little shine on their forehead throughout the day. That's just life happening. But if you're if you're truly oily, your oil usually extends beyond your T-zone out to your cheeks, or you'll have larger pores here. So like you actually have an oilier T-zone, but your whole face is not oily.
Yeah.
So I would say that you have combination skin versus oily skin, because true oily skin is going to be oily all over. You're going to look like an oil slick after 10 minutes. Like it's not an all day thing. And when people tell me that they have oily skin, which everybody thinks that they have oily or sensitive skin, and it's usually not the actual case, I always ask questions like, so how long is it throughout the day before you get oily? And they're like, oh, 5 o'clock, I see my skin getting oily. I'm like, after a long day of you working and being outside and going through the elements, your skin has a little shine. You don't have oily skin.
Yeah, you just went through the day.
You just went through the day, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That is perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's dope. I'll say anybody, like for me, I look at getting a facial like getting a haircut now. Like, so just go get the education, stop listening to your homies, or stop
listening to TikTok
Yeah.
and YouTube people with no type of credentials because they tear your skin up.
Yeah.
Real
Go
bad.
get educated. That's someone that went to school for it.
Yes, and I'm here to help. You don't necessarily have to start with the service, with the actual hands-on service. I do offer consultations, and we can do them either via Zoom, FaceTime, or you can come in person. In person, I'm able to get a little bit more in depth because I can see and look at under, a mag lamp and touch your skin. But if that's something, because obviously we're still in COVID, if that's something that you're not comfortable with, I do offer virtual options. But I feel like it's really important to just touch bases with a professional and kind of gauge where you are versus where you're trying to be and see if the things that you're currently doing are even conducive to the goal that you're trying to reach.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's important. It's important to know where you are versus where you're trying to go, if you're even trying to go anywhere. Even if health versus like perfect skin, because I feel like everybody thinks, oh, perfect skin is the goal. No, if you haven't cleansed your face in months, because people always say water. I use water. If you use water to wash your body, is it clean?
No.
Exactly. So think about your face. If you use water to wash your body, it's not clean. But people tell me all the time, "Oh, I just use hot water to clean my face. It's clean." It's not. All of the life that you've been living, in addition to whatever bacteria is hanging out under your mask that you've been wearing for these past however many months, all those things are just sitting on your skin. And if you're not properly cleansing your skin, you're taking them to bed with you at night because they're going on your pillowcase. And then you're sleeping on that same bacteria every night until you wash your pillowcase. So there's just little things like that, like that we don't really realize we're doing to ourselves that are detrimental, that I just like to, have that dialogue with people and help them understand like small things that they didn't realize were hurting them that are actually harmful to their skin.
Yeah, shit, me drinking alcohol.
Alcohol's not smoking and drinking. That's another thing. Like I always tell people, you have to counteract smoking and drinking with something. So if you're gonna smoke and drink, I don't care what you're smoking or what you're drinking, but if you're gonna smoke and drink, you have to counteract that.
As long as it's not crack, like.
Look, I mind the business that pays me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I got nothing to do with it. But you have to counter it with something. So, no is not the best for you, but we already knew that before we did it. So you have to counter it with, some green leafy vegetables. They're your friends.
Oh wow. I didn't know
Dark
that.
leafy greens are your friends. They have antioxidants, strawberries full of antioxidants, blueberries. You have to like counteract everything. It has to be a balance. Because people always like, so what you telling me is that you do your skincare routine every night and you drink the exact amount of water you're supposed to drink every day? If I told you that, I would be lying. No, I don't do that.
Yeah.
I aspire to do that, but I do it more often than not. And I'm mindful every day that is something that I need to do. Mm-hmm. That don't mean to get done every day. Because some days I go to sleep without washing my face and I'm cussing at myself when I wake up in the morning. Like, girl, you knew better.
Yeah.
But it's everything is a process. So I don't want anybody to feel like they have to be pressured to just jump into a 10-step skincare routine nightly. Like, that's not real. And that's not for everybody. Some people like me, I love it. That's my time to kind of wind down and take care of me at the end of the day. But if it's a day where I'm dead tired, you getting a cleanse and moisturizer out of me at the least.
Yeah.
And sometimes nothing. So that's another thing. Lifestyle really can determine what it is that you should be doing for your skin. Because everything isn't for everybody. If you're a swimmer, I'm not going to suggest an exfoliating cleanser to you daily because you're getting chlorine on your skin daily. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're an athlete, I'm not going to suggest a heavyweight moisturizer to you because you're sweating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think people consider that their lifestyle has a major role as well in what they should or shouldn't be using as skincare. It's just literally the circle of life. It all correlates in some way.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Go seek a professional. Go seek a professional because I know, going through my journey of, dermaplaning and stuff like that, you be like, Chris, when you gonna get a haircut? What you got going on for the next couple of days? I'm like, okay. Yeah. I try to, make sure that my routine doesn't, counter what we got going on through this skincare journey. Yeah, don't freestyle it. Do not freestyle your skincare. Like, don't do it.
Because Chris, when we met, you were using Mario Badescu, and I was like, we gotta get that out of here.
Cetaphil.
We gotta get that out of here.
Yeah, Mario, Cetaphil, and was it the Ambi Space Skin Cream?
Yes, Lord. Hydroquinone, yes.
I've come a long way.
You have. Let's clap it up because you definitely have come a long way.
I appreciate it.
I've watched and been a part of the journey, and I appreciate it.
And I'll be like, Morgan, just write it down in steps, and I got
yes.
it.
And send it to me. Yes.
And we go from there. So, can you tell, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, can you just kind of tie in the importance of facial care and how it intertwines with the mental health community?
Absolutely. So, my facials specifically, because I can't say that all facials are the same, but in my facials, I like to create a space for my clients to just be, if that makes sense. To just be and unwind and let go of the worries of the world and just be. I try to hold space for people. So when you come into my space of work, it's a space being held for you. It's not about me. And I always ask my clients questions around them, and they're like, "Oh, whatever works for you." No, whatever works for you. This time and this space is for you. And I try to make people understand that I'm simply holding space for something that we all need. We all need that time away from the busyness of life, that time to relax, that time to unwind, that time to not have to worry about a cell phone, an email, any of those things. You know what I mean? Because life is busy. This modern world we live in, even in the midst of COVID, things are continuously moving and moving and moving. And for your mental health, you need that opportunity to just be still. Literally just be still. So that's something like, even so when I do my massages, obviously I do like neck and shoulder massage. I do facial massage. That helps to, because a lot of us don't realize it, but we get tension in our jaws. That helps to alleviate any tension. It also helps to move toxins out of the body because you're doing massage. So yeah, those are really important. And a part of the reason why I love facial so much is kind of like me giving, you know what I mean? Giving energy, giving all the things to whoever is laying on the table in front of me.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, you do create a space to where it's just like you forget what day it is, what time it is. You don't get service in the back, so it's like you ain't gonna be on your phone.
You get service now. We upgraded our Wi-Fi. We upgraded our Wi-Fi.
Okay, got you. But yeah, creating space within that self is very important. I appreciate that you do
And I feel like for us,
do that
as people of color, also women of color, men of color, people of color, period. I'm speaking from my personal perspective because I'm a woman of color without children, and I still feel like I give so much and pour so much into everyone else. I give and give and give, and I don't leave a lot for me. So if I'm feeling that way, there has to be other people feeling that way, which is why I am proud to create the space that I created, but also for men, because I feel like men, to a certain extent, in their own way, which is not a perspective I can personally speak from, but they deal with things and they need that time to unwind as well. So I just, try to create that space for that to happen.
Who's your go-to though? Like, do you go see an esthetician?
I don't. I do yoga, I meditate, and I go to the gym. Those are my ways of kind of just being at peace. I don't have an esthetician. I don't think I have. I don't want to say I don't have time. I don't make time because you have time for whatever you want to have time for. But obviously, I can take care of my own skin because I have the knowledge to do so. I just find outlets in other things.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Oh wow, that's the expert. The expert. Yeah. So I've got a couple questions that
I'm ready for these questions.
People asked on social media. So hold on. Let's go. How has the aesthetics? Okay, how has the aesthetics world changed since you first received your certification as far as demographics, estheticians, financial gains, etc.?
Okay. So the first thing, as you were asking the question that came to my mind, is school. School is now virtual for estheticians.
Oh wow.
Wish I had the option when I went to school, but it's now virtual. The hours are, well, let me not say the hours are shorter because they still get credit for their hours, but it's just a different experience. But I'm glad that I had the opportunity to have the hands-on experience when I got my license and went through school, because I don't think that I would have done well in the current climate of aesthetic school. Because I'm not an online learning kind of person. I need to be hands-on. I have questions to ask. I need you to draw this out for me, show me X, Y, and Z. If I don't understand, I need you right here explaining it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But wouldn't it, I would never think that something like that would go virtual due to the fact of like it's hand techniques as far as massaging like the face, but then also like the tools that you use can be very sharp,
Yes.
You gotta have a steady hand for that.
You're using electric modalities. A lot of things you have to just be trained to use. You have to know what to do and what not to do with them. And now that they don't cover that in bookwork, and I think some schools, I guess it depends on where you are, because I know some schools are not doing hands-on portions. But some schools you do online, and then they'll have you come in for clinicals only to do hands-on. But as an aesthetic student in school, I literally was doing hands-on every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's repetition.
It's kind of like it's repetition, right? So your body and your mind and your hands all get used to doing these motions and using these different modalities. Whereas now, if you're doing most of your learning online, you're kind of skipping that point and you just have to figure it out on your own time in your own space. So that definitely has changed. That was the first thing that came to mind. Demographic, I think, was the second question. So demographic,
Yeah.
I mean the second point of the question. Demographic honestly just depends on where you are and who you're marketing to. I think that there is a demographic for everyone. You can have two estheticians in the same state or city, and they have two different markets, two different demographics. So that really just depends. But when I first started, my demographic was Lord, I worked in a Jewish community. So that was my
Park
my
Heights.
demographic at the time. Exactly. I worked in Park Heights or Green Spring, actually. I worked
Okay.
in Green Spring. So that was, and currently I work in a Jewish community, but my demographic is not that community necessarily. My demographic is African American and people of color. So the demographic kind of change. I think I don't want to say you create your own demographic. You decide what demographic you want to appeal to and you want to market to. So the demographic within the industry hasn't necessarily changed. You kind of decide that as an individual who you want to, pivot to.
Yeah.
She said demographic, or I'm assuming they said demographic. What was the second one, Chris?
It was fun. As far as demographics of demographics of estheticians. My bad.
Oh, demographic of estheticians. I've seen a lot more Black ones, and I love it. I love to see it. When I was in school, there were a lot of Black students at my school. I didn't see a lot of Black licensed estheticians. So there were people that were going to school, or they finished and didn't go get their license. So that's part of what keeps schools open is that their students graduate and go get licensed.
Oh.
But I went to school there. I can literally count on my hand in my class that I graduated school with. Of the class alone, and all of us were not African American women. I did have two African American males in my class. One of them didn't get licensed at all. The other one was already a massage therapist, so he got dual license. But even of the women in my class, I can count on one hand the number of them that are licensed and practicing to this day. So when I see other like Black estheticians, male or female, I'm like, I know that's right. Like I love to see it. I love to see people uplifting people in the way that I chose to. And we can be doing the same thing and doing it in two different ways. You know what I mean? So there may be something that's not my strength or my niche that you're great at, and I'm able to, make that connection with you. Or I might just be inspired by you, or you might be inspired by me. Either way, either way it shakes. I
and
really
then
love to
also
see
just
it.
send people like, look,
Yeah,
this
because
I'm not really an expert in this formality. I'm gonna
absolutely,
send them your way. I'm an expert in this, send them my
absolutely,
way. We'll just go from there, rock out.
absolutely. Because like even waxing, I offer waxing, but there's some people that prefer sugaring. I don't do sugaring. Does that mean if I know an esthetician that does sugaring, I'm not going to send them to him? Absolutely not. Let me give you her information. She's great at what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Let me send you over to her. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm not the person that minds that. I would much rather you, get what you're looking for by someone that I know is doing what they need to do versus you just going somewhere and they messing you up.
Yeah. Like, let me be the recommendation for
Yeah,
who you about to go to.
I can recommend a professional for you to see. That's like people are getting like semi-permanent brows now. There's an esthetician here in Baltimore. I always send people to her. Like, go to her. Go to her.
Yeah.
She does amazing brows. But
Yeah.
yes, the demographic in our industry has changed, and I've seen more brown and Black people, and I love that. I would love to continue to see that. I would love to continue to see us start our own businesses and reposition how we're viewed in the beauty industry as a whole, because we are not viewed as professional in our industry. we are not viewed as competent and capable a lot of times in our industry.
For real?
Yeah, in the beauty industry overall, not necessarily aesthetics alone, but even like the salon that I work at, that's why I sought that salon, because they saw the importance of professionalism. I worked so many places where professionalism didn't matter. People
Mm-hmm.
being on time didn't matter. It mattered on the back end, but on the front end, nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
So then, so that's demographic. I don't want to talk too much about demographic because I could talk all day. You know this, Chris.
Yeah.
Demographic. So I think financial was the second part of the
Yeah,
question.
financial gain.
Financial gain. Financial gain all depends on the person. It's a person to person thing. It depends on how much energy, how much marketing, how much all those things you're putting into your business. So
And if you
I've
provide
seen
that
it
space,
continuously. Yeah, I've seen it continuously grow as the years have gone on for me. It hasn't decreased, I'll tell you that. And I'm blessed to be able to say that, because even in the midst of COVID, I wasn't sure how things were going to happen when I returned.
yeah.
But I definitely saw things continue to grow, and I'm grateful for that. So yeah, the financial part really depends on the individual and how much effort and energy you're putting towards.
And like I was
Yeah.
discussing earlier, people will tell, like, yo, if you really doing it for a passion or you doing it for the money.
Ooh,
And every time I talk to you, I'm like, yo, I always feel educated because I'm asking questions constantly, and you're just
yeah,
like, bing, 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 just rolling it out. I'm like, yo,
I really,
passion.
that's it. And the thing is, I'm always a student of my craft, and I'm always learning more, because I feel like there's always more to learn. When you stop learning and you stop growing and whatever it is that you're passionate about, and you become dormant, you're like, what are
Like,
you
were you
doing?
really
You know
even
what I mean?
passionate about it, or you just wanted the money for it?
Exactly.
Like,
Because like, especially in the beauty industry is ever evolving and revolving. There may be older things that I haven't revisited in a while that, now people are interested in doing. And I'm like, okay, I need to re-educate myself about this. There may be newer things that I don't know a dang one thing about, but people keep asking about it, like dermaplaning. So if y'all
yeah,
don't know, before I offered dermaplaning, Chris was like, so when you gonna offer dermaplaning? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this class. And next time he came back, he's like, so you offer it yet? And I'm like, no, I take my class in December. But needless to say, now I offer it. Thanks, Chris.
hey, I seen it
But
one
it was
time
something that I
on
was
IG.
it was something that I was interested in, but I hadn't really put forth the effort to go further with. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I was focusing on other things. But once I saw a need for my clientele for the service, I said, okay, let me do this and give the people what they want, because that's why I'm here. You know what
and
I
I'm
mean?
not the only one that do it that asks for it. It's other people that ask for it as
Yeah,
well.
you're
Which
not
is
the only one.
I don't
No,
want
it
people
was
to think
about
I
6
bullied
people, and
them.
I was like, okay, let me do this.
Yeah.
But no, it was something that I definitely was interested in prior to, and y'all just applied a little bit of pressure on me,
There we
and I had to
go.
go ahead and do
I want to see you grow.
that.
You gotta
Pressure
grow.
makes diamonds. I'm not mad.
There we go. So the next question is, what tips would you give to an aspiring new esthetician on how to leverage their business, i.e., social media, marketing, etc.?
One, don't be discouraged. Don't let likes or the number of likes discourage you, because whether people like it or not, you better believe they're watching. It can get 10 likes and still have eyes on you. So one, don't be discouraged by that. And two, be consistent. Consistency, if we're being transparent here, is something that I'm always working on, especially in the social media realm, because sometimes I just don't feel like it. But I gotta feel like it. As a
Yeah.
business, I have to feel like it. That's how being in the front of people's minds is how they continue to return. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody think, oh, I wanna gift XYZ a facial for their birthday. Who do I send them to? I want to be the first person that comes to mind when you think of that. But if you're not consistent and people aren't continuously seeing you do what you do, you're not gonna be that person that they think about. So just be consistent and don't be discouraged, because I will tell you, it is easy to be discouraged. One, because of the number of people that are doing what you're doing, but they're not going to do it like you. So what you discouraged for?
There we go. They
They're
not gonna
not
do
going to do it like you. You and I can do the same thing. We're not going to do it the same.
it. Exactly. Like you could
We can
copy
have the
me
same
all day.
recipe and make different sauce. We can have the same recipe and make different sauce. Like it's just not. So there's nothing to be discouraged about.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. Don't be discouraged and be consistent with your brand or whatever it is that you're trying to work towards. Be consistent. And that doesn't mean you have to post every single day. Make what you post count. Make it count. Make it
Impactful.
useful. Make it impactful. Make it something that somebody wants to save or somebody wants to revisit. Or somebody say, oh, I remember XYZ said this. Let me go look at it real quick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. And my social media work is not perfect, but she's a work in progress.
There we go. As long as you
She
continue
is
to
a work
live
in
life,
progress.
that's
Yes,
all that matters.
yes.
What is your take on individuals being trained to perform esthetician services but not having proper training slash schooling?
Ooh, thank you to whoever asked this question. You the one. I hate it. I want to throw it away for so many reasons, but one of which being that people that are practicing unlicensed can harm clients, and then those clients go to the state board, which is who governs us, licensed people, and complain. But they're not being governed by the state board. So it's affecting estheticians. You know what I mean? So they get more strict on what we're allowed to do when unlicensed individuals do things. Now, let me be clear in saying that there are estheticians with license that may do things wrong, but they also have insurance for their license. They also are governed by a board that is going to reprimand or do whatever needs to be done to make sure that appropriate things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't have a license, there's just certain things, sanitation wise, education wise, knowing state board, knowing laws for your state, because there are things in Maryland as an esthetician I can't do that I could do in Pennsylvania.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it really just depends. Okay, Chris, sorry. My phone said it's on 10%.
Nah, you good. Jesus. Okay, let's hurry up. What? Okay. Um.
But yes, I hate it. To answer that question, I hate it. And if anybody is listening as an esthetician in Maryland, we need to do more as a community to go to state board and kind of work with them on these laws because they're trying to take everything away from us, honestly.
Damn. Like
They're
what?
trying to take the exfoliants we can use, the capability to use pills, like just so many things. But they
Mm.
let right now lashes, like eyelash extensions, are not regulated in Maryland, and you're literally working on somebody's eyeball with glue. That's not regulated, but everything else is. Interesting, right? Let me sip my wine.
Yes. And which brings me into the next questions.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, individuals that are lash techs, wax specialists, etc., who are trained by other technicians who aren't board certified trainers, do you believe that they're watering down the aesthetics industry?
I don't know if watered down would even be the appropriate thing to say. I just think that it creates distrust, I feel like.
Mm.
And so that's another thing. In another state, I'll give you a perfect example. In New York, you don't have to be a licensed esthetician to wax in New York. In the state of Maryland, to wax somebody's body, you have to be a licensed cosmetologist or esthetician. Now think about that, because when you go to the nail salon and get your brows waxed, they're not licensed cosmetologists or licensed estheticians.
Oh
They're
wow,
nail
yeah.
techs doing brows. So if there was something, if something magically went wrong, and I've heard of people getting brow burns and infections and all that stuff, there's no board governing them because they're not working within the scope of their license. So that's I don't want to say watered down, but it kind of takes away from the trust that the consumers have in us
Mm-hmm.
because they're not doing their due diligence. And that's another thing. Please, if you're seeking a professional, do your due diligence and see what it is that they have to offer, but what kind of documentation they have. I always tell people documentation beats conversation. Who
Oh,
certified you? Who certified you? Because if somebody's cousin that got certified by somebody's sister that got certified by somebody's auntie certified you. I don't trust that. If a company that's been doing training for 50 plus years and is established and has trained over 30,000 people certified you, I'm a lot more comfortable with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just as a consumer, be more diligent about who it is that you allow to perform these services. Because I hate to see, and I see people get burnt, like chemical burns all the time, all types of things, but they're not going to people that have been trained to do pills. They're not going to people that's like dermaplaning. I told you that I wouldn't offer that until I got proper training, right?
Yeah.
I went through a company that has been doing dermaplaning for years to train prior. I didn't teach myself how to do it.
Mm.
Because there are just small nuances, I feel like, to everything that you have to learn from a professional. You can't just be like, okay, this is eyelashes. Let me attach your lash to a lash. No, you got to think about adhesive. You got to think about allergies. If somebody has an allergic reaction on the table, what do? You don't just throw water in their eye.
Yeah.
Like these are the reasons that you have to have training. So do I think that they're watering down? No. I think that creating distrust between us and consumers, absolutely.
That's deep. Okay. So before we wrap this up, what is some services? Because my last service, you had the little two ice chakras, little things.
Yes, the ice globes. Yes, I actually
Yeah.
just posted a video on my Instagram using those.
What's some new services that you provide now? You will be providing.
So going into June, I will be providing, because I actually don't provide that service yet that I offered you, Chris.
My bad.
So no, I'll be offering that in June. I will also be officially offering the gentleman's facial in June. And because I'm really excited about this, for all my wax clients, I'll be offering ingrown and brightening treatments. But there are prerequisites for both of those. So you have to have at least a consultation or previous service before you can get those, because those are things that you kind of have to build up to. Okay. But yes, I'm excited about those. I just really want to continue to grow as a professional and continue to grow with my clients, because the journey that we've had, I aspire to have multiple client relationships like this. Like, it's dope.
This is dope as
dope.
hell. Oh God.
And I always tell people, you know your people when you find them. You can't like force, you know what I mean? You know your tribe will find you.
Yeah, and they will continue to come back.
DM me about buying followers and stuff all the time, or paying them $800 to post me on their page. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that need to find me will find me in due time, whenever that time is. And when they get here, they're gonna love it here.
And they're going to stay because the trust is built, because the education that you provide and the space that you provide. Like, I go to you because the space that you provide. I go to my barber because I know him since high school. I go to a specific Planet Fitness because of the trainer Josiah, because it's the trust and the space.
I know Josiah at Route 40.
Yeah, Route 40. So it's just like, yo,
I just was there yesterday, Chris. Look, I just was there yesterday.
Oh, big turn up. But it's just like, yo, people have to, like, when you're providing a service, it's up to you to provide that space for them. And once you provide that genuine, authentic space, these people will come back, and they'll probably bring up 3 people with them.
Yep.
But you got to be
authentic. I always tell people, like, what's for me is for me. So I can't worry about, and we're all, and anybody in the service industry will tell you that you come across people that just are not for you. You all are not a good match. And that's fine. I'm not going to be for everybody. But the people that I am for, I welcome them with open arms, because, hi, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah. That's dope. Shout out your social media. Can we talk about your website? Or
we can.
Yeah,
we can talk about my website. Give me, okay, I just want to make sure we're not about to die over here.
Yeah. So
social media is at SkinSense. Well, on Instagram is at SkinSense, and that's SKYNSENSE. And then I think it's like an underscore after that. But by the time you type out all those letters, you'll be there.
Yeah.
And my website is skinsense.com. On my website, I currently have products that are geared specifically towards the body and my wax clients. However, in salon, I do offer skincare products. So those are available as well. And if you're someone that doesn't live where I live or you don't want to come in salon, you can always email me, which is everywhere. It's on my website. It's on my social media. You can email me and we can kind of figure that out accordingly. But yeah. And I have should I shout out my personal? No, I don't want to be doing. Y'all can follow me on my personal Instagram too. I don't get too rowdy over there. It's it's at Morgan Renee __, I believe. But yes, I'm here to help. If you have questions after you hear this and this sparks the interest in you, feel free to DM me. Just don't DM me to book an appointment because the link is in my bio. Please and thank you.
Yes, follow directions, please.
Yes. But no, if you have like a quick question or you just need some clarification on something, I'm absolutely here to assist.
Consultation via Zoom,
yes.
Maybe FaceTime. It ain't free.
And the Zoom, so the Zoom and FaceTime consultations, you can email me about. If you're interested in doing an in-person consultation, you would book that through my booking link.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's dope. The Glow Giver. I love it.
The Glow Giver.
That's gonna be the name of this podcast, The Glow Giver.
I was thinking of the best way to describe myself, and I figured that the Glow Giver was it.
The melanated magician. I don't know.
The thing is, I'm lightly melanated, so I don't even want to misguide people like that. Like, oh, the melanated magician. Where's the melanin, sis?
I thought as long as you're Black, you got melanin.
Everyone has melanin. We all do. It's
Even our Caucasian clueless community.
It's the melanocytes that create the darker pigmentation. See, that's another thing. That's why when people are like melanin popping, maybe we all got melanin, but okay.
Oh wow!
Look, I see this happening, Chris. we all have melanin, but that's for another day.
No, yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna start going live weekly over on Skin Sense. So if you all are interested in that, make sure you follow me. But just little things like that, where like we're all screaming, melanin popping, da, da, da. This is true, but also we all have melanin.
Oh wow! So call a white person and be like, "Yeah, melanin popping," and we really can't say anything.
We're gonna look at them sideways, like, run that back. What you say? But in all actuality, they have melanin just like we do. It's the melanocytes.
Melanocytes?
Melanocytes. Yeah.
Oh.
So wow. Yeah. I paid attention in school, okay? I paid attention. I'm a little bit of a nerd. So, like, when people say stuff like that, I just be like, I'm gonna let y'all rock, but I'm gonna educate y'all later.
I like that. I'm gonna let y'all rock, but that's too long of a title, but that's hard.
It's like when people say, "Oh, Black don't crack." It does, and you don't have to do it for it to crack. You don't have to do crack for it to crack.
But
especially in the world that we live in, I had somebody ask me like, "Why do I have to wear sunscreen?" My grandmother didn't wear sunscreen. Your grandmother didn't live in a world with a thin ozone layer. Your grandmother didn't eat mostly processed food. Your grandmother also wasn't on a cellular electronic device every hour on the hour. So yes, our skin is affected much more than our grandparents was. So the pollution, all those things, whether they're intrinsic or extrinsic, all those factors affect how we have to take care of our skin then.
Yeah, like I always knew you was dope, but just like it always intrigues me when we start talking about products. And you was like, you introduced me to, I don't know if it's a soothing cream or maybe it was the
it was the skin hydrating booster.
It was one of those, and you was like, it gives off like you get the Blu-rays from your computer.
Oh yeah, so it was the SPF. It is the invisible shield. I hope I'm not messing up the name. But yes, it's the one with the yellow and it's SPF 30. Yeah. But it's good for sensitive skin. It's good for darker complexions as well, because a lot of times darker complexions get that ashy. Yes. There she is. Yes.
Yeah.
But that also has Blu-ray protection, which is really good because we're always on our phones, we're always on computers, all that. Even if, because people say, "Oh, I work from home, I don't need SPF." If you're working from home and there's sunlight shining in the room and you're on a computer all day, you need SPF. Those Blu-ray, those blue lights are still damaging your skin.
Yeah.
So yes,
Okay.
those are things that we don't think about, and it's not because we don't care. It's honestly lack of knowing. But that's why I do what I do, so that I can educate people on things like that, like little nuances that can make a world of difference, but you just didn't know.
Yeah, that reminds me of the book Tipping Point with Michael Gladwell. I'm reading it for the second time, and it was just like those little nuances play a bigger picture. He was talking about like basically like crime, and it was just like the broken window theory of like if you go into an area and you see a broken window and no one fix it, you have a greater potential of like crime increasing in the area. It's like when you have something that looks nice or whatnot. If you go in the area neighborhood and everything looks nice, I'm pretty sure that the crime level is like very, very low, right?
Because everybody that lives there is taking care of their things and values their things.
Yeah.
Got you.
But vice versa.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read that.
Yeah. So that's dope. But I appreciate having you on.
Look, thank you for having me. I'm all sweaty over here because my nerves are terrible when it comes to things like this. But terrible, yes. I don't do public speaking because my nerves are trash. But we're gonna get there. I'm gonna get past that fear and do public speaking at some point.
Me too. Well, that's why I drink a little bit to ease it off.
You know, I still have plenty in my glass, so I didn't drink.
Oh, I finished mine.
Well, let me catch up. Say less.
That's why I did my water. But I appreciate you for coming on and just
thank you for having
educating me, but not only educating me, but just educating the world, because this is something that we need. Like our skin is our biggest organ, and we don't need the cheat codes and these shortcuts on it.
And that's something that I always preach to people. Like shortcuts might do more damage than you just biting the bullet and investing. And I always tell people skincare is an investment. It's an investment in your future face and your current face. Because at this point, especially at our age, we're both 30-ish. But we're at the age where all those, the tide is kind of shifting for us. So we have to give a little bit more effort into maintaining ourselves, because we're not the 20-year-olds that we were 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Because when you're 20, you invincible, skin popping, this popping, that popping, can't nobody tell me nothing. When you hit 25, it slow down a little bit. When you hit 30, it's like, oh, hold up, I really got to take care of myself.
Yeah. All them swag and surfing nights, and drinking Hennessy.
I was about to say Hennessy is yeah.
It's
a thing of the past for me. Wine me, please.
Exactly.
Wine is all I want. I don't want it.
Tequila me. But like I was saying, I appreciate you for coming on, continue to educate me, but just educating the world on skincare. And you're a true expertise and a true student of your craft and your game. And I see it every time that you post, and especially every time that we talk. Because during our sessions we just go back and forth.
We chat it up. I'm like, Chris, do you want me to be quiet? Because I always ask. I feel like I kind of feed off of you. If you want to talk, I'll talk. But I always tell people, like, I be quiet because I literally am creating a space for you to relax. Now, if you want to talk, we can chat it up. But otherwise, I'm not going to be the one to initiate the conversation ever, because I'm usually being quiet and letting you relax.
Yeah. So more, I want you to keep that same energy as far as your craft, and continue to learn, but also educate others and perfect your craft. I don't know what else you could do within that world. I'm pretty sure there's other stuff you could do in the esthetician.
So much.
But yeah, so I appreciate you for coming on the Unpredictable Thoughts podcast.
Thank you for having me again. Round 2. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, solo. And for anybody that want to get any Keep That Same Energy merch, go on unpredictablethoughts2.com. It's your boy Troubles in the building. Peace.